November.
It's the Manchester kid. Came in here at 7. And when you have the skills, like Marcus has, you want to be the legacy for life.
Marcus Rashford, the man who was destined to be the next legendary figure at Old Trafford. The lad who rose through Manchester United's famous and historic Carrington Academy to become one of football's biggest names. He was a game changer. He was a point of difference. He was a troublemaker. But was he enough of a troublemaker? Or perhaps the better question would be, was he a troublemaker for the opposition or for his own team that he loves so much? Surely every single Manchester United fan out there is asking themselves similar questions as Rashford slowly and steadily fades from his Ballon d'Or level of potential and the Kylian Mbappe comparisons start to sound more comical than realistic. So let's analyse this. But before we go any further, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. So, where has it gone wrong for Marcus Rashford? Marcus Rashford ended one of the most disappointing campaigns of his career. 2023-24 was the second worst of his 9 in professional football, and compared to the 30 goals Rashford scored last season, the 8 he scored this is a miserable tally, especially for a player of his ability. But what has actually happened to Man United after the improvements of the summer and the positivity at the end of Eric Ten Hag's first campaign, and to Rashford in particular? Yes, indeed, Man United played some delightful football and electrifying stuff at times last season, with Marcus being in the form of his life. Everyone was expecting 2023-24 to be the next big step forward, but Man United once again failed to deliver, finishing 8th in their worst Premier League campaign ever. Of course, the most simplistic answer to Man United's problems in attack was the poor form of Rashford, who had looked a complete shadow of his former self. Others have stepped up on occasion during his season of misery, such as Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho, and of course Bruno Fernandes. His season was marked by many lows, culminating in his shocking omission from Gareth Southgate's England squad for Euro 2024.
And with Marcus, I just think there are players in that position on the pitch that have had stronger seasons.
Rashford began his youth career in 2005 at the age of 8 and spent more than a decade at Carrington before making his first appearance for the Man United men's side. And what a debut it was! In February 2016, an 18-year-old Rashford was included in the squad for Man United's Europa League match against Danish side Midtjylland. He wasn't even expected to take to the field, but due to Anthony Martial's injury in the warm-up, Rashford was selected to start the game from the very beginning. He marked his debut with 2 goals in a 5-1 win, but that wasn't even the most memorable moment of his first week in red. 3 days later, having caused sensation around the club and even Louis van Gaal, he was selected for the Premier League match against Arsenal, something he couldn't have imagined at this early stage in his career. He underlined his Dutch manager's faith in him by playing an effective part in all 3 of the Red Devils' goals in the 3-2 win, scoring twice and assisting once to the delight of the Old Trafford faithful on that sunny afternoon in Manchester, earning him instant cult hero status. Yes, it really does feel like yesterday, but unfortunately for Rashford and his supporters, time flies and it doesn't do him any favours. From those shining moments at the start of his Man United days up until the end of 2023-24, the England international has won 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, as well as the Europa League and Community Shield in 2017. When it comes to the most prestigious tournaments, the Premier League and the Champions League, however, Rashford not only hasn't tasted triumph, but he hasn't even managed to get close to the biggest trophies. Yes, it's true that he's had his moments of glory in Europe, such as scoring a dramatic penalty in the dying moments in knocking PSG out of the 2018-19 Champions League, or that long-range beauty at the Parc des Princes, but increasingly it seems that Man United and Marcus Rashford are wasting each other's time. On the one hand, the Red Devils desperately need a consistent talisman, and Marcus certainly has the attributes to fill that role, but his dip in form and off-field dramas are really hurting the team. On the other hand, Rashford has also struggled for the Red Devils, although his love for the team is unmatched. Just take a look at the emotions he displayed after Manchester United's FA Cup final triumph over their noisy neighbours Manchester City. So yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player, but one who would fit in better in another team, where his inconsistency wouldn't be so impactful. Could he fit in better with Arsenal or PSG, both of whom he's heavily linked to at the moment? Yes, it is a fact that both the Gunners and the Parisians would love to have Rashford in their squads, and interestingly enough, he would fit perfectly with the tactical structure of both teams. In terms of Rashford's game, he is most comfortable in transition, when he can use his speed and perfect positioning on the counter-attack. As for Arsenal, they need to find a player like Rashford in their left side for two reasons. Firstly, Gabriel Martinelli had one of his weakest second halves of the season in 23-24, barely starting at all and making almost no impact coming off the bench. More influential in his position was Leandro Trossard, who scored a couple of crucial goals for the Gunners against Bayern Munich, Porto, Chelsea and Man United. However, the Belgian's unlikely to be the star man on Arsenal's left flank. That would guarantee Mikel Arteta at least 20 to 25 goals a season, and that's exactly why Rashford would be the perfect choice, as he could take his career to the next level at Arsenal, while the Gunners would have one of the best wingers in the Premier League at their disposal. On the other hand, a potential move to PSG would make even more sense, with Kylian Mbappe set to leave the club and the French giants looking to seek a replacement this summer. A number of options have been linked with PSG, including Victor Osimhen, Rafael Leao and Rashford. Looking at it purely in terms of his loyalty and respect for Man United, it would be fair to say that Marcus would never play for any team in the Premier League other than the Red Devils. In that sense, PSG are definitely the more viable option, as apart from all that we've said so far, Luis Enrique's style of football is a bit more direct than Mikel Arteta's, and on paper Rashford would excel more in Paris. However, a move away from Man United would end the dream of many who'd hoped he'd become the next Ryan Giggs, a legend, a club icon who'd remain at Old Trafford throughout his whole career, and until recently, less than 12 months ago, when he renewed his contract, that dream really could have become a reality. And until recently, less than 12 months ago when he renewed his contract, that dream could have become a reality. Now, however, the fans' attitude towards Rashford has become much more hostile, and after the Fulham game in February, when Rashford played one of his worst games in Man United colours, a Twitter account ran a poll asking fans if they would sell Rashford this summer. Well, the results spoke for themselves. 78% voted yes, while only 22 thought Rashford should still continue wearing the famous red shirt. And for those who think that the poll is 3 months old and that fans' opinions might have changed, well, we highly doubt it, as Rashford's only managed to score 3 goals in the 12 games remaining in the season. Aside from his poor form, however, people began to question his commitment and desire to shine in a Manchester United shirt. Everybody remembers the passion he showed between January and March 2023, when he was easily one of the best players in the world, and the fans even started to put him among the favourites for the Ballon d'Or. He had fun on the pitch and inspired his teammates to give 110% every time they stepped out onto the pitch. But here we are just 12 months later, with Manchester United squad even stronger on paper following last summer's major transfers. However, the Red Devils have failed in the Premier League and Champions League, when Rashford has not been himself both on and off the pitch. A prime example of his unprofessional attitude was the scandal that erupted at the end of January, which was one of the main reasons why the Red Devils fans lost faith in him. Man United were due to travel to Wales for an FA Cup tie against Newport County. However, a few hours before the game, Erik ten Hag announced to the media that Rashford was not taking part due to illness. Everything seems fine, right? Well, not quite. because 3 days before the game, Marcus was spotted walking down the stairs of a nightclub with his hood up, along with a group of friends, some 350 miles away in Belfast, from where Man United were battling to a hard-fought 4-2 win against their League Two opponents. Media reports revealed that Rashford had been wasted drunk, forcing Ten Hag to publicly announce that he was ill and would miss the game. And all that brings us to his shocking omission from England's provisional squad for the Euros. The Three Lions are undoubtedly among the favourites to win the trophy, but Rashford will not get a taste of the tournament in Germany after his place was taken by the likes of Jarrod Bowen, Eberechi Eze and Anthony Gordon. Perhaps most intriguingly of all, this will be the first major tournament of Rashford's professional career that he will miss. It's clear that the Man United star is in for a long few weeks, which he should use to reconsider his own professional path, because the way things are going, the Marcus Rashford story could indeed be one of the most tragic of this generation. Now, we're curious to know what you think. Man United fans, would you still keep Rashford after the disastrous, miserable and failed 2023-24, or would you rather sell him at a high price when he still has high potential and a good 7 or 8 years of top-flight football left in him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, give us a like and subscribe so we can continue to make more engaging content like this. Keep unlocked into the football vibe. Thank you, and see you next time.